Dr. Flores, who will do the lecture for you, but she has something to do, so I'll be the one relieving her for this topic. Okay. So our topic for this morning is about the physiology of labor, meaning what happens during delivery or during the entire length of labor and delivery. Okay. So this is found at at chapter 21 of our Williams obstetric book. Okay. So let's start. So when you say parturition, it's the entire process of pregnancy, the labor, delivery, up until recovery. So ibig sabihin, it encompasses everything, no? So when you say parturition, it starts when the patient gets pregnant up to the recovery phase, meaning after the delivery, okay? But sometimes the word parturition or parturient, we usually use that if the patient is in labor. Dun kasi siya lagi. For example, you go inside the delivery room, you'll ask the resident, ilan ang parturient nyo? So when you say parturient, we usually try to correlate that only during labor. But when you say parturition as a whole, it means to say that it's the entire process of pregnancy up until the recovery phase or delivery. Okay? So as a general overview of this chapter, no, it's the first 36 to 38 weeks of normal gestation. Myometrium is in the preparatory yet unresponsive state, right? Because what week age of gestation do we start to say that the patient is already at term pregnancy? What week? Anybody from the group? At what week age of gestation? Anybody? Or if none, can I call on Dr. Barbosa, Kirson? What week age of gestation do we use the term pregnancy, or do we use the word term pregnancy? Starting at what week age of gestation? Anybody? Kirson.
Doc, 37 weeks po.
Correct. So starting at 37 weeks age of gestation, the pregnancy is said to be at term. Okay? So prior to term, meaning to say 36 weeks and below, the uterus is on its quiescent phase. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya nagko-contract, right? Because when you say labor, that's the time when the uterus starts to contract, and that is for in preparation for the labor. Okay? But as the age of gestation progresses, this quiescent phase starts to become activated. Okay? So, cervix begins an early stage of remodeling yet maintains structural integrity. What does it mean? Because on the first few weeks age of gestation, the previously firm consistency cervix becomes soft. Okay? Can you still remember what is the term for the softening of the cervix? Anybody? What is
Cervical ripening.
cervical ripening? Ano pa? The term, anak, the sign. What's the sign? When the cervix becomes soft, and the softening of the cervix occurs during pregnancy. It starts with the letter H. Anybody from the group? Dr. Angeli and Name. What can you remember? The sign. Pregnancy. Okay? Because prior to pregnancy, the cervix usually, if you try to palpate it during internal examination, it's firm. But once it becomes pregnant or the patient becomes gravid, no, the cervix starts to remodel and it becomes softer. And that is in preparation for its ripening, as what Dr. Bayan told us. Okay? Now, transitional phase begins during which the myometrial unresponsiveness is suspended and the cervix undergoes ripening, effacement, and loss of structural cohesion. And When you say labor, this is characterized by forceful and painful uterine contraction that affects cervical dilatation, effacement, fetal descent, and birth. What particular hormone is usually used during labor? What?
Oxytocin po.
Correct, the oxytocin. Okay. Now, there are three general contemporaneous theories that describes labor induction. First is that there will be a functional loss of pregnancy maintenance factor. What what hormone can you remember helps in the maintenance of pregnancy?
Progesterone.
Correct, the progesterone. Okay. Now, the synthesis of factors that induces parturition. So first, there will be hormones that tries to inhibit the contraction so that labor will not start, no? And that is prior to the 36 weeks. But once the labor progresses and starts to enter the term pregnancy, there will be synthesis of factors that induces parturition, and particularly our hormone oxytocin. Okay? And then aside from the oxytocin, no, there is a factor contributed by the fetus that also initiates labor, no, or parturition commencement. Okay? So, what are the maternal and fetal compartments? So, the primary compartment for the maternal part or maternal side is the uterus. Okay? The myometrium, the decidua, or the endometrium, and the cervix. When the patient becomes pregnant, the term endometrium becomes the word decidua. Okay? Decidua na siya. So when you hear the word decidua, it means to say that it's the endometrium of pregnancy. Maliwanag po. And then there is also a fetal compartment. And primarily, the fetal compartment is the placenta. Okay? Now, what happens in the maternal compartment? You have the myometrium, you have the decidua, and you have the cervix. Okay? So the myometrium that contains smooth muscle cells, readily adaptable to mechanical stretch, inflammation, and endocrine and paracrine signals. Now, the advantages of uterine contraction, efficiency, and fetal delivery. There will be greater magnitude of contraction, force exerted in multiple directions. The plexiform arrangement aids in the shortening and force generating capacity. If you can still remember back in your maternal anatomy, how does the myometrium, the muscles of the myometrium is arranged? It's arranged interlacing. Correct? So interlacing ang itsura niya, and then in between that interlacing muscle fibers, you have the blood vessels. Tama? That's why if the uterus tries to contract, tries to also out those vessels, preventing blood loss. Correct? Now, during parturition, that interlacing muscle bundles or interlacing muscle fibers try to also contract, and it aids in the push or the delivery of the fetus. Now, greater multidirectional force generation in the uterine fundus permits versatility in expulsive force directionality. Excuse me. So, if you try to imagine it, the uterus is a pear-shaped organ. Correct? Parang pear-shaped siya. Now, the active segment of the uterus is actually the fundus. No? And then, the lower segment will be the passive segment. Meaning to say, the fundal area. That's why if somebody will ask you, or the resident or the consultant will ask you to do labor watch, do not put your hand at the lower uterine segment, but rather you have to put your hand at the fundal area for you to be able to palpate the contraction. Okay? Because contraction is at the fundal, or the active segment of the uterus is at the fundal area. Okay? So the myometrium, this is for the contraction. Now, how about the decidua or the endometrium? This maintain the pregnancy via immunoregulatory function, suppresses the inflammatory signals during gestation. Diba, if you can still remember, during implantation, when the blastocyst tries to implant, what happens? At first, there will be rejection. Correct? But after quite some time, instead of rejection, the decidua or the endometrium of pregnancy now tries to accept the blastocyst implantation. Correct? The the major reason for or the major significance of the decidua or the endometrium is that it suppresses the inflammatory signals during gestation. So, therefore, there will be now acceptance of that blastocyst. Okay? So, decidual activation towards the end of pregnancy. What is the significance? This is to induce inflammatory signals, to withdraw active immunosuppression, and contribute to parturition and initiation. Okay? And lastly, in the maternal component, myometrium decidua, last would be the cervix. Now, what is the function of the cervix? The function naman of the cervix is the maintenance of the barrier function to protect the reproduction serves as a barrier. No? Second, maintenance of cervical competence despite of greater gravitational forces that as the fetus grows. It means to say that even if the fetus or the gravid fetus enlarges, it becomes heavy. So again, in the maternal compartment, there are three significant anatomical position anatomy, no? That is very important during parturition, and that is the myometrium that aids in the contraction, the decidua, provides virtually all fetal membranes tensile strength to resist the membrane tearing rupture. It is resistant to penetration by leukocytes, so it also acts as an immunologic barrier. Tama? And it constitutes a selective filter to prevent fetal particulate bound lung and skin secretion from reaching the maternal compartment, and protection from amniotic fluid constituent that could prematurely accelerate decidual or myometrial activation or could promote adverse events such as amniotic fluid embolism. So as a whole, if you try to read it, in summary, amnion is the protective barrier, ano, in the placenta. While the chorion, no, it's the protective tissue layer, provides immunological acceptance. Why is it in the chorion that serves as immunological acceptance? Because the chorion is the one that is attached in the decidua. Okay? So this is enriched with enzyme that inactivates uterotonins, which are agent that stimulates contraction. Activating enzymes includes prostaglandin dehydrogenase, oxytocinase, and enkepalinase. Okay? So this is how it looks like. Again, this is your myometrium. This is the endometrium or the decidua of pregnancy. As I mentioned, chorion is the one that is attached in the decidua. And then there will be the amnion. Okay? So, maternal side, again, the cervix, the myometrium, and your sir and your decidua. And then in the fetal part, you have the placenta. Now, how about the hormones? Okay. So, sex steroid hormones role, it increases the progesterone to estrogen ratio, and this is for the maintenance of pregnancy. Okay. But once the pregnancy progresses, it declines in a ratio for parturition initiation. Because instead of the progesterone, this time, it's the estrogen that increases. No? And the increase in estrogen also enhances a positive feedback so that oxytocin will also increase. Okay? So, progesterone inhibits the events leading to parturition. This is what uh, this is the answer a while ago. What maintains the quiescent phase of pregnancy? Progesterone, because again, it inhibits the events leading to parturition. Progesterone withdrawal or administration of progesterone receptor antagonist, mifepristone or onapristone, will promote some of or all keys of parturition. Okay? So, once the progesterone is withdrawn, and that is during the activation phase, then there will be activation of parturition. Okay? Now, what is the role of prostaglandin? Ano bang ginagawa ng prostaglandin? Anybody from the group? What can you remember? What is the role of your prostaglandin? What does the prostaglandin do inside the body? Anybody? Dr. Coloma Bonifacio.
Yes po, Doc. Doc, based dun sa biochem namin is parang more on inflammation po siya.
Correct. More on inflammation, no? Once it stimulate inflammation in pregnancy, what it does, di ba? Ano nangyayari kapag ka menstruation sa prostaglandin? It stimulates inflammation and it starts the contraction, correct? It promotes vasoconstriction. Tama? So, the same is true with regards to prostaglandin role in pregnancy. It tries to actually induce labor. Just like in menstruation, no? Menstruation commences after the introduction of prostaglandin inside the body. Okay? So your prostaglandin is produced secondary to the arachidonic acid release, no, by the action of your phospholipase ANC. I know this is not new to you because you already discussed as what Dr. Bonifacio told us a while ago. So this initiates prostaglandin synthesis. Okay? So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug NSAID targets this enzyme to produce tocolytic action. So what are the phases of parturition? The phases of parturition includes the quiescent phase or the prelude phase. You have the preparation or the activation phase, and you have the process or the stage wherein the patient starts to do or starts to enter labor and delivery. And then lastly will be the recovery phase. Okay? So this table is actually a table which is lifted from our book. Again, you have the quiescent phase or the prelude for parturition, wherein there will be contractile unresponsiveness and cervical softening. Ibig sabihin, nagsa-start pa lang. Say, activation phase, this is the preparation for the labor, wherein there will be uterine preparedness for labor and cervical ripening. Kanina, softening pa lang, na lumalambot pa lang. This time, nagra-ripen na siya. Okay? And then you have phase 3, This is the stimulation or the actual process of labor. In the actual process of labor, you will have contraction, you have cervical dilatation, and placental and fetal expulsion. And lastly, you have the involution or the phase 4, wherein this is the parturient recovery or the recovery phase, wherein there will now be uterine involution, cervical repair, and breastfeeding will start. Okay? Now, this is a table or this is a curve, again, lifted from our book. And we call this one as Friedman's curve. Okay? If you try to look at it, the Friedman's curve has different phases or stages. You have the latent phase wherein this is the start. I hope you can see my cursor running. This is a start wherein the cervix starts to dilate. And then, this is the active phase of labor wherein the patient enters the active phase, meaning to say that there is simultaneous uterine contraction and cervical dilatation. If, for example, the cervix is less than 3 centimeter and the contraction of the uterus is asynchronous and it's not hindi pa siya tuloy-tuloy, the patient is still on the latent phase. But once the patient starts to have regular uterine contraction and cervical dilatation, the patient is already entering the active phase. Okay? And we have also the division of the labor. You have the preparatory division, no? And then you have the dilatational division, and then you have the pelvic division. When you try to compare it or if you try to correlate it with the different phases, your preparatory division is the first phase and the second phase. Okay? While your dilatational division is your third phase because this is where the cervix starts to open, no? And then, pelvic division and dilatational division is the stage or the phase 3. And then the recovery phase is at this part when the patient already delivered. Okay? So again, if you try to compare the phases, this is the quiescent phase, no? This is the activation phase. Phase 2 is the stimulation phase or the actual state wherein the patient is in the active phase of labor and delivery, and the involution or the recovery phase. Okay? So let's now go to the different phases, no? Phase 1, you have the uterine quiescent and cervical opening. So, you have the myometrial quiescence. When you say quiescence, ibig sabihin, tahimik siya, no? Kaya kaya nakalagay dyan, uterine smooth muscle tranquility and the maintenance of cervical structural integrity. This is when the cervix starts to soften, the state of relative uterine unresponsiveness, and a fail-safe system that protects the uterus against agents that could perturb the uterine tranquility. Okay? So myometrial cells are non-contractile. Again, it's unresponsive. Uterus changes in its size and vascularity to accommodate the fetal growth and prepare for uterine contraction. Okay? But at this time, on the phase 1 or quiescent and cervical softening, there is a contraction, the Braxton Hicks contraction. What is the Braxton Hicks contraction? Anybody? What can you remember about Braxton Hicks or false labor? How does Braxton Hicks contraction happens? This is a low intensity myometrial contraction but do not normally cause cervical dilatation. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya false labor because prior to term or before the 37 weeks age of gestation, at around the last few weeks prior to term, the patient can already perceive uterine contraction. But that uterine contraction is still irregular and it will not bring cervical dilatation. We call it as Braxton Hicks. Okay? Kaya ang tawag sa kanya, false labor. Kasi baka magtaka kayo. Sabi mo, doktora, the muscles or the myometrium is tranquil or hindi siya nagre-respond. Pero ba't ngayon may sinasabi kang contraction? That contraction in the phase 1 is a false labor or the Braxton-Hicks contraction. And it usually happens on the last few weeks of pregnancy prior to term. Okay? When you say Braxton-Hicks, it's an irregular contraction. It's usually non-painful and it doesn't bring cervical dilatation. Okay? Now, how does the quiescent phase develop? It's the action of estrogen and progesterone via intracellular receptor. But between the two, the major hormone that is important during the quiescent phase is the progesterone. Okay? So myometrial cells, plasma membrane receptors mediated increases in the cyclic adenosine monophosphate. There will be generation of this guanosine monophosphate and other systems that includes modification of myometrial cell and ion channels. Nakakainis, no? Kala nyo, tapos na kayo sa mga cyclic AMP. No? You will still actually meet those cyclic AMP because we're talking about contraction. Okay? Mamaya, calcium naman ang mamimit niyo ulit. And ito na yon. Okay? So, in the myometrial relaxation, you have the quiescence. Myometrial contraction, you have the contractility. So, what happens during relaxation? There will be diminished intracellular crosstalks or reduced intracellular calcium. If you can still remember back in your physiology, your calcium ion is very important for muscle contraction. Correct? And it is also same or true for the myometrial contractility. So that's how calcium is important. But during contractility na, pag quiescent, konti lang or it reduces intracellular calcium or intracellular crosstalks. But when there will be when the uterus starts to contract, there will be enhanced interaction between the actin and myosin protein. Correct? Now, quiescent or relaxation, ion channel regulation of muscle membrane potential. So there will be membrane potential, which is in the equilibrium. While in the contractility, there will be heightened excitability of individual myometrial cell. Diba? Parang nagre-review kayo ng muscle physiology. Now, quiescent, activation of uterine endoplasmic reticulum and stress unfolded protein response. What is the importance of the endoplasmic reticulum again? It is for the release of your calcium, correct? And then, during contractility, there will be promotion of intracellular crosstalks that allow synchronous contraction to develop. Meaning to say that the actions of the intracellular calcium or the calcium starts to attach to the actin and myosin, just like your skeletal muscle. And then, quiescent also is involved in the uterotonin degradation. What is uterotonics? What do you mean, or what are the different hormones that are said to be uterotonic? Particularly what? When you say uterotonic, anong ibig sabihin? Utero is the uterus, correct? Tonic is the contraction. So, ibig sabihin, when you say uterotonic, it means to say that it's an agent that tries to contract the uterus. But during the quiescent phase, when you say uterotonin degradation, so it tries to inhibit those agents that starts contraction. Maliwanag po. So, relaxation again and contraction. Now, in the myometrial contraction and relaxation, again, this is not anymore new to you, the actin and myosin interaction, correct? When there will be actin and myosin interaction, just like in the skeletal muscles, there will be contraction. Tama? So, actin must be converted to a globular to filamentous fibrils to form contraction. Actin must attach to the cytoskeleton at focal points in the cell membrane to allow tension to develop. Actin must partner with myosin that activates the adenosine triphosphatase, hydroxylase, adenosine triphosphatase, and generate force. So, again, contraction in the myometrium also involves the activation of your actin and myosin filament. Okay? So, regulation of membrane potential para tayong nasa skeleton, nasa muscle physiology. Myocyte maintains relative high interior electronegativity, hyperpolarized membrane potential attenuates smooth muscle cells excitation regulated by ion channels, no? And channel opening results in the myometrial relaxation. And this allows potassium to leave the cell to maintain interior electronegativity and prevents calcium influx in the contraction. Okay, this is during your relaxation phase because there will be membrane potential or equilibrium. So, myometrial gap junction, there will be intracellular junctional channels that establish communication between myocytes. This aids in the passage of electrical or ionic coupling current as well as metabolite coupling. No? Connexons and each composes 6 connexin subunit protein, and progesterone lowers the contraction associated protein, and this will increase oxytocin receptor, prostaglandin F receptor, and connexin 43. And this part, no, is during the contraction phase na. Okay. G protein coupled receptors, you just read on this. This is just nice to know. Okay. This one. When you say accelerated uterotonin degradation, when you say uterotonin degradation, again, when you say uterotonics, these are agents that tries to contract the uterus. But during the quiescent phase, there will be uterotonin degradation or ibig sabihin, it inhibits, no, the uterotonics. This enzyme that degrades or inactivates endogenously produced uterotonins are strikingly increased. Okay, so these are the one or the enzymes that deactivates your uterotonics. Okay. In the decidua, so again, when you're talking about the myometrium, it's either the uterotonics, no, or the one that degrades the uterotonics. When you say uterotonics, again, those are the ones that contracts the uterus. And if you wanted to inhibit during the quiescent phase, the contraction of the uterus, the uterotonic degradation enzymes are the one that are activated. Okay? In the decidua naman, there will be synthesis in the decidual prostaglandin, no? In particular, prostaglandin F2A. These are markedly suppressed during the phase 1. Why? Because this prostaglandin F2A are the one that contracts or aids in the contraction of the uterus. But in the quiescent phase, since there will be uterine quiescent, then prostaglandin F2A is usually suppressed. Okay? Natural killer cell, macrophages, dendritic cell, and T cells, in collaboration with the decidual cells, promote an environment of immune tolerance to protect the fetus, and immune cells with initiate and adaptive immune responses supports the vascular and tissue remodeling, immune surveillance and defense, and trophoblast invasion in phase 1. So again, phase 1, with regards to the myometrium, we are talking about uterotonics. Phase 1, with regards to the decidua, we are talking about prostaglandin. So uterotonics and prostaglandin are both inhibited during phase 1. Okay? How about the cervix during the phase 1? Cervix, no? Ito yung tinanong ko kanina. There will be greater tissue compliance. Okay? So cervix remains firm and unyielding, but beginning 4 to 6 weeks age of gestation, again, you have the Heger sign or palpable softening of the lower uterine segment. Okay? So maintenance of cervical anatomical and structural integrity is essential. So cervical softening results from increase in the vascularity, cellular hypertrophy and hyperplasia, and slow progressive compositional and structural change in the extracellular matrix. Okay, so these are the reasons why the cervix softens during the first 4 to 6 weeks age of gestation. So Heger sign, palpable softening of the lower uterine segment beginning 4 to 6 weeks age of gestation. So if you try to palpate the cervix, there will be softening on the lower uterine segment. Now, cervical connective tissue, still in the softening part of the cervix, collagen, the main structural protein of the cervix, undergoes conformational changes that alter tissue stiffness and flexibility. During pregnancy, mature cross-linked collagen fibrils are replaced with poorly linked fibrils, resulting in collagen with reduced stiffness. And there will be balance in the synthesis and breakdown of collagen rather than loss of collagen, and achieves cervical remodeling. And prevalence of cervical insufficiency is also higher in those with inherited defects in the synthesis or assembly of collagen or elastic fibers like Ehlers-Danlos or Marfan syndrome. So again, the cervix acts as barrier, no, to protect the fetus from any infection, and it also acts as para siyang rubber band, no? It makes the lower uterine segment stiff so that the fetus will not expel. But again, during the quiescent phase, the cervix that is firm, no, at the beginning becomes softens, right? And that is in preparation for the cervical ripening. Cervical softening pa lang, and then when you have the activation phase, ripening na yan. Okay? Second, preparatory or preparation of labor. Again, going back, in the phase 1, you have the quiescent phase. The hormones involved is the increase in the ratio of progesterone to estrogen. So it's more on the progesterone, right? In your, that's in the quiescent phase for the myometrium. So there will be uterotonic degradation, right? So there will be non-activation of your uterotonics. And then in the decidua, ano nangyayari? Hindi rin nag-activate ang prostaglandin. Anong nangyayari sa cervix pagka first phase 1 or quiescent phase? There will be uterine softening. Okay? How about preparation for labor? Or this is now the activation phase. There will be uterine awakening or activation. Kanina natutulog siya. Ngayon, ginigising mo na siya. Okay? So, progression of uterine change during the last few weeks of pregnancy and shifting events is associated with phase 2 can cause either preterm or delayed labor. Okay? So, on the second phase or the preparation phase, you have the awakening or activation. Okay? So, there will now be progesterone withdrawal. Okay? Kanina, there will be increase in the progesterone hormone to maintain the quiescent phase of the uterus. This time, on the phase 2, there will be awakening, so progesterone will be withdrawn. Okay? Parturition progression to labor can be blocked by administering progesterone to the mother. Possibly the progesterone-containing injection or vaginal suppositories may prevent premature labor. Myometrium and cervix becomes refractory to progesterone's inhibitory actions. So, what does this two mean, the first two? It means to say that if just in case the patient is having preterm labor, okay, what we usually give the patient to maintain its quiescent or tranquility is to give the hormone progesterone. Okay? So, pag sinabing tocolytic, toco means contraction, lytic, ibig sabihin tatanggalin mo or you lyse. So, progesterone is one of the tocolytic agent that is given to patient in preterm labor. But once the progesterone is withdrawn in the system and that is activated during awakening or progesterone withdrawal is in the phase 2, then contraction can now happen. Okay? So, mifepristone is a classic steroid antagonist acting at the level of progesterone receptor. What is mifepristone again? This is prostaglandin. Correct? And mifepristone appears to have some effect in cervical ripening and on increased myometrial sensitivity to uterotonins. So, meaning to say that in the phase 2, there will be progesterone withdrawal and activation now of your prostaglandin. Okay? Now, prostaglandin, aside from it aids in the contraction of the uterus, it also tries to prepare the uterus or make the prepare the uterus and the cervix for ripening. Okay? Now, how about the myometrial changes during the phase 2? So preparation for labor contraction, shift in the expression of key protein that controls the uterine quiescent to an expression of contraction-associated protein. So myometrial oxytocin receptors and gap traction protein such as connexin 43 is markedly rise in number. Okay? So this time, na-activate na. So in the phase 2, there will be increase in the oxytocin receptors. Okay? So formation of the lower uterine segment in the isthmus and the fetal head often descends or even through the pelvic inlet, so-called as lightening. Kaya nga minsan, on the last few weeks of pregnancy, minsan parang feeling ng pregnant patient, bumagsak or bumaba yung head ng fetus. This is because of the effect of your myometrial oxytocin receptors and in the softening of the lower uterine segment. So lightening or the baby drop. Okay, abdomen commonly undergoes a shape change, sometimes described by the women as the baby drop. And this is secondary to the lightening. Okay. So myometrial changes during the phase 2, kanina, we inhibit the oxytocin, no? But this time, there will be increase in the oxytocin receptor. And again, when you're talking about oxytocin, this is something, or this has something to do with the contraction of the uterus. Okay? So estradiol treatment raises myometrial oxytocin receptor and contraction, prevented by simultaneous treatment with progesterone. This is again for the tocolytic part. So in the first part or phase 1, more on progesterone. In the phase 2, more on estrogen. Okay? Because estrogen has a positive feedback to increase the oxytocin receptor because we are already in the activation phase. Okay? So progesterone acts within the myometrial cell to enhance oxytocin receptor degradation and inhibits oxytocin activation of its receptor at the cell surface. This happens on the phase 1. But on the phase 2, there will be more estrogen than progesterone ratio, and it increases the number of oxytocin receptor. Cervical modification during the phase 2 principally involves connective tissue changes. There will be transition from the softening to ripening phase that begins weeks or days before labor. Sa phase 1, lumalambot lang siya. Sa phase 2, nagra-ripen na siya. Okay? Now, cervical matrix change is its total amount of glycosaminoglycans, which are large linear polysaccharide, and proteoglycans, which are protein-bound to these glycosaminoglycans. So cervical ripening, there are cervical connective tissues that are involved. You have the collagen, the glycosaminoglycans, and it has an inflammatory change. And the role of inflammatory cells in postpartum cervical is in the postpartum cervical and remodeling repair. Okay? So, cervical ripening, again, in the phase 2, induction of cervical ripening sometimes is aided with a direct application of prostaglandin E2 or F2A. Okay? So, endocervical epithelium, mucosecreting columnar stratified squamous epithelium, form both the mucosal barrier and tight junctional barrier that protects against microbial invasion. So, in short, when you're talking about the phase 2, there involves now the ripening. Okay? How about the fetal contribution in the parturition? Okay? So sa phase 2, there is a fetal contribution for the parturition. First is the uterine stretch. Stretch increases the expression of connexin 43 and oxytocin receptor. No? It has been said that in multiputal pregnancy and hydramnios, since the uterus is a little stretch or more stretched than the usual, no, there will be a higher risk for preterm labor because stretch increases again the connexin 43 and oxytocin receptor that aids in the uterine contraction. Okay. So there will be activation of cell surface receptor or ion channel transmission of signals through extracellular matrix and release autocrine molecules that acts directly on the myometrium. So endocrine cascade, fetal hypothalamic pituitary adrenal placental axis is considered a critical component for normal parturition. Premature activation of this axis is considered to prompt many cases of preterm labor. When does the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal placental axis starts to activate? If the patient is not in labor. Kailan kaya? Except for in the phase 2. So this is usually activated if the fetus is stressed. No? Kung nasa stress yung fetus, for example, the mother or the maternal side has hypertension. So stress siya kasi konti lang yung blood na napupunta sa kanya. So this hypothalamic pituitary adrenal placental axis is activated a little earlier than the normal. Okay? But during the phase 2, this activation starts to prompt parturition. Okay? So the key component in human may be the unique ability of the placenta to produce large amount of CRH. Okay? So, placental corticotropin-releasing hormone, this stimulates the cortisol. CRH plasma levels rises exponentially in the last 12 weeks and peaks during the labor and then fails precipitously after delivery. So, this is what I'm telling you. Stress fetus from various complications have greater concentrations of CRH in the fetal plasma amniotic fluid and maternal plasma than those seen in normal gestation. Okay? So, if the fetus is stressed, no? One of the example is again if the mommy or the mother is hypertensive, then there will be early release of cortisol stimulated by this placental corticotropin releasing hormone, and that induces early labor. Okay? So CRH, what are the roles in the parturition? Again, the release of your cortisol, no? Enhance cortisol production to provide positive feedback so that the placenta produces more CRH. Modification in the CRH receptor favors a switch of CAM formation to increase myometrial cell calcium levels via protein kinase C activation. Oxytocin acts to attenuate CRH-stimulated accumulation by cyclic AMP. CRH act to augment myometrial contractile force in response to prostaglandin F2A. And finally, your CRH stimulates fetal adrenal steroid synthesis, thereby increasing substrates for placental aromatization. Okay. So fetal placental clock, this is still, we're talking about the placental corticotropin releasing hormone. Rate of rise in maternal CRH level is a more accurate predictor of pregnancy outcome than a single measurement. Placental fetus through endocrinological event influences the timing of parturition at the end of normal gestation. Okay. Phase 2 also involves the fetal surfactant and platelet activating factor. So what is the importance of surfactant? That is for lung maturity, right? So fetal membrane senescence, ano yung senescence? Ano ibig sabihin ng senescence? Yung pagtanda or aging, correct? So cellular senescence or physiological aging, stretch and oxidative stress induces senescent fetal membrane to manifest the form of sterile inflammatory termed as senescent associated secretory phenotype A or SASP. No? This propagate inflammatory signals that further weakens the fetal membrane and activates signals in the decidua of the myometrium to initiate your parturition. So again, when you're talking about the phase 2, it involves estrogen and progesterone, but more on estrogen because estrogen creates a positive feedback to increase the oxytocin receptors. In your phase 2, there will also be cervical ripening, because there will be activation of your prostaglandin synthesis. Okay? Now, in the fetal part, or what are the role of the fetus and the placenta in the phase 2, activation of your placental CRH, and this is for the hormone cortisol. Okay? So fetal anomalies and delayed parturition, pregnancies with markedly diminished estrogen production may be associated with prolonged gestation. Women with inherited placental sulfatase deficiency and fetal anencephaly with adrenal hypoplasia. So these are the different reasons why there will be diminished estrogen production. So fetal abnormalities that prevent severely reduced entry of fetal urine or lung secretions into amniotic fluid do not prolong human pregnancy. Example will be in terms of renal agenesis and pulmonary hypoplasia. So anencephaly and prolonged gestation was attributable to anomalous fetal brain pituitary adrenal function, developmental failure of the fetal zone that normally accounts for most of the fetal adrenal mass and production of C9 steroid hormone. Okay. So just a review, phase 1 is the quiescent phase. Phase 2 is the awakening phase. Phase 1, more of progesterone and uterotonic degradation. Correct? And what happens to the cervix? Cervix starts to soften. Phase 2, you have more of estrogen rather than progesterone because this time you have awakening. So increase in the estrogen receptors tries to also increase your oxytocin receptors. And what happens to the cervix is that the cervix now starts to ripen because prostaglandin is also already synthesized at this time. What about the fetal compartment? In the fetal compartment, you have the placental CRH, and the placental CRH is the one that induces or synthesizes the hormone cortisol. And this hormone cortisol starts to awaken the uterus and starts the parturition. Okay? So, if you try to clinically correlate it, the CRH normally only starts to develop or starts to synthesize cortisol at the late few weeks of pregnancy. But if the fetus is under stress, just like that of a mother who is hypertensive, then the CRH is usually synthesized a little early and cortisol is released that initiates parturition or initiates labor earlier than the expected. Maliwanag po. Next, how about labor? In labor, ito na yung manganganak ang mommy. Okay? So going back to the Friedman's curve, you have the latent phase and you have the activation phase or the active phase. If you try to look at it in the lower part, you have the preparatory division. This includes the latent and the active phase. So preparatory division again, this is the phase 1. And the phase 1 of your phase 1 and phase 2 of our parturition. Okay? Dilatational division and the pelvic division is on the phase 3. Because dilatational division, this is where the active phase of labor starts, the cervix starts to open, and there will be delivery of the fetus in the pelvic division. So dilatational division and pelvic division, this correlates with the phase 3 of labor. Okay? So phase 3, manganganak na ang mommy. Okay? So in labor, you have 3 stages. You have the first stage, second stage, and you have the third stage. When you say first stage, this is the stage of cervical effacement and dilatation. So uterine contraction is of sufficient frequency, and the intensity and duration are attained to bring about cervical thinning or effacement. This is the onset of true labor until full cervical dilatation. So first stage is the onset of true labor to full cervical dilatation. Second stage, full cervical dilatation until the delivery of the fetus. Third stage, delivery of the fetus to the delivery of the placenta. Okay, maliwanag po. So, active phase of labor is the first stage, no? Up until full cervical dilatation. And what is full cervical dilatation? It is achieved at 10 centimeter cervical dilatation. So that is the first stage of labor. Kaya first stage, the stage of cervical effacement and dilatation. Second stage, stage of fetal expulsion. Because again, second stage starts at full cervical dilatation until the delivery of the fetus. Third stage of labor, stage of placental separation and expulsion, because this starts after the delivery of the fetus to the delivery of the placenta. Okay? Now, first stage of labor, the clinical onset of labor, there will be bloody show. Okay? Blood-tinged mucus plug that had previously filled the cervical canal during pregnancy. This indicates that the labor is already in progress or likely will ensue in hours or days. Yung mucus plug, ito yung itsura niya. Once there will be rupture of membrane or uterine contraction, this mucus plug is usually expelled. And once it's expelled, there will be bloody show. Parang magsa-start mag-mens yung mommy. Kaya minsan, doktora, parang may mens na po ako or parang may bleeding po sa panty ko. This is the bloody show. And that is the clinical onset, start or clinical onset of labor. Okay? So clinical onset of labor, uterine smooth muscle contraction during labor are painful because there will be hypoxia of the contracted myometrium such that of angina pectoris. So hypoxia in the contracted myometrium is the one of the reason why during labor there will be pain, labor pain. Compression of nerve ganglia in the cervix and lower uterus by contracted interlocking muscle bundles, and cervical stretching during dilatation and stretching of the perineum or peritoneum or overlying the fundus. So these are the reasons why there is pain during labor, particularly the hypoxia of the contracted myometrium. Okay? So Ferguson reflex, mechanical stretching of the cervix that enhances uterine activity. Manipulation of cervix and stripping of the fetal membrane is associated with a rise in blood levels of prostaglandin F2A metabolite. So during the early part of labor, what we did is to strip the cervix. When you say strip the cervix, i-open mo yung cervix, isi-strip mo siya. No? Pag sinabing, na-strip ko na po, doktor, yung cervix, ibig sabihin, you try to insert, just like in the picture, your finger between the cervix and the membrane. No? You try to strip the membrane. And doing so, you try to mechanically stretch the cervix and try to increase the prostaglandin F2A metabolite. And what is the importance of the prostaglandin? It aids in the uterine contraction and the cervical ripening. So it also softens and ripens the cervix. Okay? So in your examination, if you will be asked what is the importance of stripping the cervix, it aids in labor induction. Okay? Kasi it tries to increase the level of your prostaglandin. So, distinct upper and lower uterine segment. The upper segment is firm during contraction. Lower segment is softer, distended, and more passive because, again, the active segment of the uterus is found in the fundal area. Okay? Upper segment contracts, retracts, and expels the fetus. The softened lower uterine segment and cervix dilates and thereby form a greatly expanded, thinned out tube through which the fetus can pass. So this is how it looks like. So this is the physiological passive segment. Again, the active segment is located at the upper part. The lower segment or the segment near the cervix is the passive segment. Okay? So active segment again is in the fundal area. That's why if you will be asked to labor watch, you have to put your hand at this part and not at the lower part. Okay? Uterine contraction interval in the onset of labor gradually approximates 10 minutes at the onset of the first stage as it labor to as little as 1 minute or less in the second stage. So during the first stage of labor, the uterine contractions is a little irregular pa, but once it starts to enter the second phase, then the uterine contraction becomes now regular. Okay? Relaxation between contraction, this is essential for the fetal welfare, and remitting. Contraction compromise utero-placental blood flow sufficiency to cause fetal hypoxemia. What does this mean? So during contraction, there should be relaxation. Kasi kapag nag-tetanic contraction yan, ibig sabihin tuloy-tuloy yung contraction niyan, then the result can be fetal hypoxemia. Okay? So duration of contraction ranges 30 to 90 seconds and averages at 1 minute. So this is how the contraction looks like. There will be contraction and then there will be relaxation. Again, the average is 30 to 90 seconds. More than 90 seconds, maybe the contraction is tetanic na, no? Or dire-diretso na siya. So again, for you to be able to dilate the cervix during labor, there should be contraction, relaxation, rest, contraction, and relaxation, and then a little rest. Okay? So what is this physiological retraction rate? This is a boundary between the lower uterine segment and thick upper segment markedly by a ridge on the inner uterine surface. But there is so-called the pathological retraction ring or the bundle ring. Extreme thinning of the lower segment the ring becomes prominent, and this is seen in obstructed labor. So pag tinignan nyo, parang may bewang, okay? Because the uterus tries to contract but the cervix doesn't open simply because there is a obstructed labor. Maybe the pelvis is small. Kaya pinupush niya pero hindi makababa. Okay? That's why it appears something like this. No? So this is the pathological retraction ring and this is the physiological. Okay? So ideally it should look like this, but when there is an obstructed labor, especially in CPD or cephalopelvic disproportion, then there will be pathological retraction ring, which is located at between the lower uterine segment and the cervix, and this is how it looks like. Okay. Now, changes in the uterine shape, there will be elongated ovoid uterine shape, narrows horizontal diameter, greater fetal axis pressure straightens the fetal vertebral column, presses on the upper pole of the fetus against the fundus, lower pole is thrust farther downwards, longitudinal muscle fibers are drawn, taut, lower uterine segment cervix are pulled upward and around the lower pole of the fetus. So, elongated ovoid uterine shape narrows horizontal diameter. Greater fetal axis pressure, ancillary forces, maternal intra-abdominal pressure. So, this time, pushing. Okay, kanina, contraction brought about by the oxytocin receptors. This time, the maternal pressure. And this is your pushing. Pinapahiri mo na yung mommy. Contraction of the abdominal muscle simultaneously with forced respiratory efforts with the glottis closed. Pushing accomplished a little in the first stage. When you're asking the mommy to push, kasi lalabas na yung baby, hindi tama yung nakikita nyo sa TV na pag may nanganganak sumisigaw. Okay? Because pushing, dapat may intra-abdominal pressure. How does the mommy do it? You tell the mommy, para po kayong nagpupup ng matigas because the pressure should be intra-abdominal. Kasi pag sumisigaw, the pressure is in the glottis. Okay? Hindi naman nandito ang fetus. Nasa tiyan siya. So, dapat, mami, kapag iiri ka, inhale, exhale, inhale, sarado po ang bibig, ire, parang dudumi ng matigas. Okay? Dapat wala pong sound. Because when there is sound during pushing, it means to say that the pressure is not intra-abdominal, but it's in the throat. Okay? So, ayan o, nakalagay. Glottis is closed because the bearing down should come from an intra-abdominal pressure and not from the pressure in the throat. Okay? So, yung mga sumisigaw sa TV kapag nanganganak sa movie, hindi bababa ang baby doon. Okay? So, first stage of labor, clinical onset of labor, this is how it looks like. So, the fetus starts to descend. So the cervix tries to open and then the cervix becomes thinner. Okay? The thinness of the cervix is called cervical effacement. Okay? Obliteration or taking up of the cervix. Shortening of the cervical canal from 3 cm to almost a paper thin edge. Okay? So this is how it looks like. So once the fetus starts to descend, then the cervix opens and the cervix becomes thinned out. Okay? How about cervical dilatation? Though sa maximum cervical dilatation is 10 centimeter. The maximum cervical effacement is fully effaced. No? But this is usually in percentage. The higher the percentage, the thinner the cervix is. So pag sinabing 90% efface, 90% efface na, doktora, ibig sabihin manipis na ang cervix kasi almost fully dilated na ang cervix ng patient. Okay? So cervical dilatation, the maximum cervical dilatation is at 10 cm. Again, if you try to look at it in the first picture, this is uneffaced, zero effacement, and the cervix is closed. But when the head of the fetus starts to descend, bumababa, what happens? It tries to open the cervix and it tries to thin the cervical wall. And then pag bumaba na siya lalo, mas ninipis na yung cervix at mas magdadilate na ang cervix. Okay? So second stage of labor, how about the fetal descent? The cervical dilatation, I hope you can see my cursor running, happens at this part. Okay, the dilatational division. But during the pelvic division, this time still at the phase 3, this is the second stage of labor and now fetal descent. What is the second stage of labor? Again, it starts with full cervical dilatation to the delivery of the fetus. Maliwanag po. That's why this part, dilatational division to the pelvic division, this corresponds to the phase 3 or the second stage of labor. Phase 3 of parturition or second stage of labor. So fetal descent. Third stage of labor, this is the delivery of the placental membrane, still on the phase 3, no? So third stage of labor, delivery of the fetus to the delivery of the placenta. You have two mechanisms on the delivery of the placenta. Either it's Schultz mechanism or Duncan. When you say Schultz mechanism, there will be central detachment or the fetal surface appears first. Kaya ang tawag namin dito, shiny Schultz. Okay? Shiny Schultz kasi hindi siya bloody. Okay? Because what happens or what detach first is the central part. Okay? How about Duncan mechanism? Ang tawag naman namin sa Duncan, dirty Duncan. No? Why is it dirty Duncan? Because there is peripheral detachment. And when there is peripheral detachment, mas madugo siya. Because maternal surface appears first. Okay? So, pagka nagde-deliver kayo ng placenta, kapag hindi masyadong madugo, it's Duncan. It's Schultz. Shiny Schultz. Pagka naman dineliver mo yung placenta at paghila mo, masyado siyang madugo, then it's Duncan. Dirty Duncan. Okay? So, still on the phase 3 of your parturition, what are the hormones activated? You have the oxytocin, the prostaglandin, the endothelin, and your angiotensin. Okay? So, oxytocin, first uterotonin to be implicated in the parturition initiation. Oxytocin receptor number strikingly rises in the myometrial and decidual tissues near the end of gestation. Oxytocin acts on the decidual tissue to promote prostaglandin release and oxytocin synthesis directly in the decidua and extraembryonic fetal tissue and in the placenta. Last few slides. Okay. So, oxytocin, maternal serum oxytocin levels are usually elevated, especially during the last or during term pregnancy. So during second stage, at which it is the end of the phase 3 of the parturition in early puerperium and during breastfeeding. Why is oxytocin important during breastfeeding? What is the importance of oxytocin during breastfeeding again?
Milk
And
let
correct, the milk letdown. Okay? So these are the importance of your oxytocin. So prostaglandin, again, is one of the uterotonic, no? Increases level of prostaglandin or the metabolite in the amniotic fluid, maternal plasma, and maternal urine during labor. The receptors are usually your prostaglandin E2 and prostaglandin F2A. No? These are expressed in the uterus and the cervix. It causes abortion or labor at an early gestational age. So again, if prostaglandin is activated prior to um, term pregnancy, then there will be preterm delivery. Prostaglandin H2 synthase type 2 inhibits the delay of spontaneous labor and onset and sometimes arrests preterm labor. This prostaglandin H synthase type 2 is usually present in the quiescent phase. Okay? But activation phase, nagkakaroon ka na ng prostaglandin synthesis, and then phase 3, then activation of the prostaglandin mismo. So another uterotonin in the phase 3 is your endothelin. These are the receptors for prostaglandin E2 and F2. These are also expressed in the uterus and cervix. Okay? And lastly, the angiotensin 2 receptor. Okay? So angiotensin 2 binding of plasma membrane and receptor, this evokes uterine contraction. So during the pregnancy, the vascular smooth muscles expresses A2 receptors and refractory to the pressure effects of infused angiotensin 2. So going back, phase 1, you have the quiescent phase, more of the progestin and uterotonic degradation. Phase 2, more of estrogen. And this time, it's the awakening phase because the receptors for oxytocin starts to rise, secondary to the effect of the rising level of your estrogen, right? And then the cervix starts to ripen. Phase 3, this is the actual phase of labor and delivery. You have 3 stages of labor for the phase 3. You have the first stage of labor, starts at the regular uterine contraction or active phase of labor to the full cervical dilatation. Second stage of labor, and the second stage, full cervical dilatation to the delivery of the fetus. Then we have the third stage of labor, delivery of the fetus to the delivery of the placenta. Correct? In the delivery of the placenta, you have 2 mechanisms. You have the shiny Schultz, that is central detachment, and you have the dirty Duncan, which is peripheral detachment. Correct? So what are the hormones involved in the phase 2 or the uterotonic phase? You have 4. You have your oxytocin, you have your prostaglandin, you have the endothelin, and you have your angiotensin. Maliwanag. Those are the hormones, or those are the hormones released for the uterus to contract. And lastly, phase 4 of your parturition. And this is your puerperium. This is the involution stage. Okay? So, na-deliver mo na lahat, but ano mangyayari? If you try to deliver the placenta after fetal delivery, the uterus starts to contract. Okay? So, directly compresses the large uterine vessels, thrombosis of the lumen to prevent hemorrhage. There will now be uterine involution, no? Liliit na, and cervical repair. This restores the organ to the non-pregnant state, protects the reproductive tract from invasion by commensal microorganism, restores endometrial responsiveness to hormonal receptivity. There will be milk letdown because of the effect of your hormone oxytocin, and reinstitution of ovulation. This occurs within 4 to 6 weeks after birth. depends on the duration of breastfeeding and lactation-induced prostaglandin-mediated and ovulation and amenorrhea. So when you say puerperium, this time, this is after fetal and placental delivery. Okay? What is the major hormone involved? Oxytocin. Because you have uterine contraction and milk letdown. Okay? If you try to look at it, restitution of ovulation, 4 to 6 weeks after birth. What is the significance of that? Ibig sabihin po niyan kung ang mommy hindi naman nagbe-breastfeed because at the second statement, ovulation depends in the duration of breastfeeding. Because if you can still remember, if the patient breastfeed, there is that is a good source of family planning. We call that lactation amenorrhea method, correct? It delays ovulation because of the release of the hormone prolactin. Tama? But if the patient is not breastfeeding, then after a month of delivery, 4 to 6 weeks after delivery, and the patient involves in sexual contact without any protection, then the patient can already get pregnant. Kaya nga meron tayo, I don't know who among you, merong ang interval lang nila halos magkasunod. Okay? Magkasunod sila. Parang kakapanganak lang ng mami na buntis na. So, pwede siyang nanganak ng 1994 tas 1995 ulit. This is again because the restitution of ovulation usually starts a month after delivery. Okay? So, that is for your puerperium stage. Do you have questions? Questions for this chapter? This is Dr. Solis. She prepared kasi the slide. So again, you have the phase 1, quiescent, phase 2, activation, phase 3, that's the actual delivery, and then phase 4, you have the restitution. Okay? Maliwanag po. So if there are no questions, I hope you learned something this morning. We'll see each other again for your SGD, and then some of